Hey, how's it going? Today we're going to do something a little different. I'm going to show you how to make Steve Reich style tape loops on the Elektron Octatrack. The Octatrack really lends itself to this kind of thing. It's so malleable and modular that it can pretty much do everything. And with its ability to do time stretching and repitching, as well as have 2 insert effects per track, the possibilities are pretty endless. I'm going to keep this fairly simple and pretty short if I can, and also as beautiful as I can possibly make it. I have a nice piano sample in here from Origin Sound. I think it's actually a sample that's shipped with my Octatrack. It did come with some different samples than a regular Octatrack, so I'm not sure. But I think it might come with all the Mark IIs, so you can check for yourself. Any sort of piano sample will do. Steve Reich is a famous American composer from the 1960s, and he came up with this great idea. He takes 2 tapes playing the same sounds, one tape playing slightly slower than the other tape, and they slowly go out of phase as they loop, and it makes this really beautiful effect. The rhythms that it creates are awesome, just beautiful. The Octatrack does a great job of it. I've been playing around with it for a while. Let's get right into it. On track 5 and track 6, I have the same sample. It's this sad piano sound, perfect for what we're trying to do. It's really pretty. We're gonna put some reverb on it, maybe play with some filters. We'll do a bunch of weird stuff to it in a second. First, we have to get it working correctly. So what we want is this sample to loop over and over, but we don't want it to have anything to do with the sequencer. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna place down a trigger on the step sequencer. We're gonna hold that trigger, press the right arrow, and go into our trig conditions. The condition we're looking for is called first. Not first with the line on it, but first. This means that this trigger will only happen just the one time. So let's just copy this trigger and paste it on this track as well. So now we have 2 tracks playing the same sample, and it will only trigger that sample one time. So let's go into our source menu and turn loop on. We don't need it on auto. Auto looks for some other settings in the Octatrack to detect whether or not it uses that setting. If you have time stretch turned on somewhere else, or loop turned on somewhere else, that's looking for that destination, and then it will use that data to decide whether or not loop is on. So then we want time stretch turned on normal. I guess I already have that on. Let's do that here too. And we also want loop on here. And we want to actually turn the rate to time stretch on both these tracks. The reason for that is that we want to use time stretch in a typical time stretch manner. So when time stretch is applied, it just changes how quickly the sample plays and doesn't repitch that sample. What we need to do now is pick a track that's going to play slightly slower than the next track. I'll take track 6, and I'm going to have the rate go down, I don't know, we'll bring it down to 61 for a little bit more of a dramatic effect. At 62, it takes a while before it goes out of phase. Not too long, but a little bit longer than I want it to take. So let's try it at 61. And this one is playing at 63, which means it's playing at its normal speed. And here we go. We'll start applying some effects and playing with the pitch and have some fun with this. You can already hear it happening, right? It's really quite beautiful. Let's add some effects. Put a reverb on. Give it a big time. Here's the phase of loop 2, and this is loop 1. Look how far away from their phases they are now. Now it gets really interesting when we repitch one of them. Let's repitch track 5 down an octave. we'll filter that higher piano sound. Just lovely, isn't it? Gorgeous, right? So easy to do. On the Octatrack, it's a piece of cake. They're literally directed to the same sample. It's just too easy. So if you're interested in making these kind of sounds and you own an Octatrack, go for it. My first thought was grab my OP1, use that little tombola sequencer, record that into a track, and then do this to that recording and just come up with new weird sounds. Maybe record them, save them onto the Octatrack. I don't know. Okay, before we're done, I did some other stuff, so let's just have a little bit more fun, okay? So I'm gonna mute these tracks. I did the same thing, but I did it with some like more interesting samples than those sad piano sounds, as lovely as they are. Over here, we have this glitchy sitar, and then we have some like music box. Like an oboe or something? I honestly have no idea. And the last one. Cool. Voices? Reversed? I don't know. They're all in the same key. That's really all that matters. So I've applied the exact same idea as I did on these tracks. I'm going to have them loop, and then I'm going to slow them down so that they start creating new rhythms at every pass. Okay, we have loop and time stretch turned on for all 4 samples. We have a trigger that only plays the sample one time, so it triggers it, and it just starts looping. And now we're going to start playing with rates and pitches and all sorts of other stuff. We'll see. I've brought all their rates down very low. What if we tie a scene to their pitch? I could have gone on for a long time. There's a lot of weird stuff my brain started thinking about. I was like, maybe I'll make a resample track, micro-time the playback head just above the recording so that it plays back just in time to listen to it, but then have it play in reverse with an octave down. If you want to watch more of these cool tutorials, or I think they're cool, but if you want to watch more of these tutorials or support me in making these tutorials, you can join patreon.com/EZBOT. You can also visit coffee.com/EZBOT if you want to pick up my Octatrack templates, which I meticulously craft because what else is there to do but play on the Octatrack in this crazy world? I'll see you next time.